Welcome to Therapeutic Astrology Podcast by me, Manna. I'm so happy today because we'll be speaking about a brand new book from Karnak Books. The title is Body as Shadow, Jung's Method of Embodied Healing. And I'm so glad that you're here, the author with us, Erica Lorentz. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah. And oh man, it is really good that you're here. I've had quite the experience of reading this book, going deep, reflecting on authentic movement and what that might mean for me. I'd like to begin by quoting you,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see where that quote takes us. So it's just one of many beautiful quotes from the book, where you say, in our work of healing and individuation, the body can no longer be excluded. Spirit and matter intermingle in the creative space of the somatic unconscious. Access to our psyche must recognize and integrate body and mind, as trauma research has clearly shown. Our bodily perception cannot be excluded from the profound inner journey that is required by the spirit of the depths.
Yeah. So when Jung split with Freud and left the community he helped to start, he had to go his own way because he couldn't just fit into a left brain paradigm.
Mm,
And he had been connected with the spirit of the depths from his childhood. And he couldn't leave that out. And as a scientist, he wanted to bring that in. So he was summoned or pressured by the unconscious to take a journey, which he did from 1913 to for about 4 years intensely. Then, I mean, he had experiences his whole life, right? But so what he realized is that with his growing up in Europe and Switzerland and being trained as a doctor, he knew the spirit of the times, the modern world, well, modern at that point, right?
yeah.
And he knew that's the outside world. But he had always had this connection with the inside world, which is the spirit of the depths.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So that's what he wanted to bring into modern psychology. And of course, science didn't know what to do with that, So
Mm,
but he wanted for this to be a part of the conversation, for this to be a part of the work,
yeah.
not just the outer world and the ego and what other psychoanalysts were looking at, which is very valuable. But he knew that there was the other level of the transcendent, the archetypal, the spiritual, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the spirit of the depths. And when we go into the inner world and we work with those parts of the psyche that come up that are both positive and very difficult,
Mm,
then we're talking to our inner world and a world that we're part of, but that we need to become conscious of to become whole, to become who we are truly meant to be. So that's what my work does, and that's what my book speaks to is how that's a part of the body, of course, and
mhm,
the emotions, the embodied soul, the emotions, the energy, the imagination, the imaginal world, the mundus imaginalis
mm,
that the Sufis spoke of,
mhm,
and then the subtle body, the somatic unconscious, which is where all our memories are. The body knows everything
mm,
of our past, right? So all of these in the soul, Jung followed his soul into the
mm.
unconscious. She was his guide.
Ha.
Yeah. And he realized before he started the journey that with all of his training and the spirit of the times, he had lost connection to his soul. And
Mm,
so there's a soliloquy at the beginning of the Red Book and the Black, I think it's in the Red Book, where he chronicled all of his journey with beautiful paintings. Beautiful paintings. He was an artist. Yeah. So he chronicled that, and there's a little soliloquy where he says, my soul, where are you? I
ah,
need you. Please come back."
mm,
And she did. I mean, he reconnected with that part of himself, and she really led him. She really introduced him to parts of his psyche that sometimes he didn't want to be introduced to,
Yeah.
and parts of his psyche that were very, very healing. It was all healing.
Mm.
And when he came out of that journey, particular journey, which he chronicled, the black books are his journals. That's just the raw material.
Okay.
And then he got this beautiful leather-bound red book, and he did calligraphy in it and transcribed and did these paintings. So that was the Rosetta Stone, that journey. And he had, like I said, he had many other experiences, but that journey, he came out and he said, "Okay, this really transformed me. What's valuable here for my clients? What's valuable here to bring into the spirit of the times? This is the spirit of the depths."
Ah,
Right? So,
wonderful. Thank you for that explanation. And yeah, the
mhm.
whole having lost your soul and be able to bring it back. I mean, so that's so important. Is too little of a word. I mean, that's so
Yeah.
essential. And when you say it's also difficult, it must be because the title of your book is Body as Shadow. Shadow is
Mhm.
like this is the difficult part.
Yes, yes. Well, in my research, Ian McGilchrist, which is from the UK, he's a neuroscientist. He was studying brain damage. So what happened to us? What happened to the way we bring in data, the way we process it, the way we look at it, the different meanings of it? What happens when there's damage in one part of the brain? And as he did that over many years, he realized that the left and the right hemisphere were very different.
Yeah.
And so and the right hemisphere has to do with creativity, intuition, our body, our embodied self, nonverbal. Only
Mm.
7% of communication is verbal. Only 7%. That's
Uh,
93% that we pick up nonverbally, right? That's
yeah.
amazing.
It's so interesting, and we obsess so much about it saying the right thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you start thinking about your expression and your voice and your body, and you go, oh. And that's what I try to help teach people who are training to be analysts, people who are just interested in getting more in touch, um, is how do we, so sorry about that. Many thoughts come at once
Yes,
sometimes.
that's how it is for me as well. Yeah.
So in doing this, he began to realize that the right hemisphere, which has to do with meaning, has to do with meaning.
Mm,
Um, uh, it it should be what we trust. It should be our foundation. And the left hemisphere, which has to do with calculations and separating the body, mind, the ego, what do I need, da 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 da
mm,
da, it gets stuck in its own data.
mm,
And it can't think outside of the box. It can't go, what are how does this relate to anything else? He can't do that. So the right hemisphere, what McGilchrist realized through history, is this, which is the right hemisphere, which is the body, the
mm,
soul, the emotions, being able, certain left hemisphere has more to do with anger, but the emotional body, the paradox, meaning, symbol, all of that
mm.
got throughout history, kind of in my second chapter is about this. It was fun to write. Um,
Yeah.
the the whole embodied soul got pushed into the collective shadow.
Mm,
So, in the modern world, in science, in many, many ways, all of these elements are not honored. They aren't seen as legitimate, right? So
yeah.
I mean, Jung didn't think in that way, but that's what he was working with. This right hemisphere knowledge, knowing,
Mm,
creativity,
mm,
intuition, relationship.
mm,
Relationship is about the right hemisphere. Somebody told me a story yesterday that they know somebody who's very spiritual who had a massive, who had a big trauma, a stroke in the left hemisphere. And
Mm,
so he couldn't do a lot of things out there, but it really opened up his right hemisphere.
mm.
And he was just, he knew the meaning of his life on such a deeper level that he didn't care that he couldn't do some of this other stuff. Isn't that fascinating?
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to have that happen if if the accident is there, then I want to have that happen, that I
Yeah.
won't care about it anyway. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I get it. So it's like this is some new scientific terms to use about this, but
Hmm.
that's also what Jung was actually working with.
Hmm.
Um, I don't want to stop your flow here, but I also want to ask you, is it
Sure, go
okay?
ahead.
Okay. Because I do feel I really love your flow just from speaking. But I was wondering how long you've been pregnant with this book, because you say a little
Uh,
bit about that. And
mhm.
then maybe that's also an occasion, because only introduced you as the author of this book, but I know you're so much more. So maybe you can say something about your process with writing this book.
Back in the 80s, right before I started training to be an analyst, I had headaches, really bad headaches, and doctors couldn't find anything. No medicine worked. But I began to become suspicious because I've been doing authentic movement since I was 25.
Ah,
So, and authentic movement is a place where there's no music, there's no prompt. You just listen to the somatic unconscious and you take that impulse into wherever it wants expression.
and you've been doing that for so many years?
Yeah, since
Right.
about 25, on and off. Yeah. And so I so these headaches, and I began to become suspicious. What is my body trying to do? What is it trying to
Mm,
tell me? And I had some body work, and people were going, this is interesting.
mm, mm.
So I began to work again with my mentor, Janet Adler. I was in Houston. I began to go out to California to do retreats with her, with a group, and um, and she came to Houston where I was, and she gave a workshop. And as soon as I was in her witnessing presence, my my entry into my body shifted. I used to come from an image and go in, and this was pure sensation.
Oh,
I would feel a sensation, and it would tell me exactly what I was supposed to do. And I'm an introverted sensate type. And your introverted function is the one that takes you deepest into the unconscious. So, yeah,
yeah, because it's the ability to be inward, to be in that inner place, I
yeah,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah. So over
Wow.
5 years, I really followed these very, sometimes tiny sensations that needed me to do different things, be in different positions, be in different orientations,
So,
gestures, postures.
so you're talking about the headache,
Well,
and
yeah, I had this
that's
headache,
yeah.
and that prompted me to
Okay.
follow my body.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
And
Yeah.
Janet was an incredible witness. She would see things, she would see things that the rest of the group, we would share what we experienced as witnesses.
Hmm.
But she was incredible at really seeing what was going on. And she had had her own deep journey into the spirit of the depths.
Yeah.
So, so over 5 years, this developed until the sort of this energy began to come through my body up and over a number of couple of years. So I found movements that would facilitate that.
Hmm.
And and what's interesting is the energy would get stuck. And somebody else in the group who was moving, there were witnesses, a circle of witnesses and movers, would come up and touch me. We had your eyes closed unless for safety. And they would come up not knowing what was going on, and they just happened to touch me at that spot, and the energy would begin to move. And it's like, wow, there's a whole interactive field in this room,
Like you are hurting in a particular place, and they obviously don't know, not intellectually anyway, but then
right?
intuitively, that's where they end up placing their hands or how it
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
just a hand, and then they'd go away.
Okay.
And that really taught me to trust the unconscious,
Yeah.
not just in myself, but in the room, you
And
know.
the group field.
Right. The interactive, what I call the interactive field.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And and eventually one day the energy moved up and shot through my solar plexus, and I was in a state of bliss, vibrating, sobbing, in
Mm.
ecstasy. And my headaches went away.
This is really important because I know people who's dealing with this. Many people are dealing with either migraines, concussions that seem to have become
Mm-hmm.
chronic pain.
Yeah, well, there certainly are physical reasons for those things, it's not,
Hmm.
but as Jung said over and over, you can't separate the body and the mind.
Right.
It's all together. And sometimes somebody needs medication, or, Western medicine has its place,
Mm.
but what is the body saying? And even if, like the guy who had the left hemisphere stroke,
Yeah.
how does that change us? How do we relate to it? How do we work with it? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I'm asking you about how long you've been working on this book,
Right.
does it go back to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I get off on my little rabbit
No,
holes.
it's good. Good.
Yeah, so so from that I was studying Jung.
Hmm.
So I said, what did Jung say about this? And I index every book that I read on the body. So I indexed everything Jung wrote on the body.
Okay.
And I discovered that sprinkled throughout the collected works, he says tremendous amount about the body. But since we have 30 volumes, people are like, oh, he's a great thinker. Well, he was also a very down-to-earth guy.
Ah.
He built a stone tower up the lake from Zurich. He helped the farmers harvest their wheat. He was really believed in being on the earth. For him, God was in nature. So I did all that, and then I wrote my thesis on Jung's spirituality in the body. And
Okay. Yeah.
back then in 1998, I didn't really quite know. I mean, I intuited a lot of this. I kind of was putting pieces together,
Yeah.
and it grew. It, I got more experience. I had more thoughts. I put things together more. And at one point, I think about 2007, an analyst said, I want to send this to Rutledge, to my editor. And I went, ah, I had a writing complex. I said, no, I have to rewrite it. But I was right. It wasn't ready.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 2021, a friend of mine read it who had done her thesis at Pacifica Graduate School
Mm.
on Jung and trauma and the body. And I sent her my thesis, and she said, "Oh my God, I needed this when I was writing my dissertation. There's
Mm.
nothing out there like this that really puts all these pieces together. You have to publish this." And another colleague of mine said, "When are you going to write the book?" So it's like I was so pregnant with it that and this pressure began to build in me that I just had to sit down and write it. And I had a writing complex. I won't get into that. That's
Okay.
that's a whole other thing. But I had no idea how to write a book. I had no idea how to write. I'd written a little, I'd written papers,
Yeah.
and it just wrote.
Did
And
it?
I wrote, and then I'd go back and I'd take my thesaurus with all these lovely, different words, which was fun. And then I had an editor who helped me. So
Yeah.
it about 3.5 years, I'd see some clients, it'd go, okay, now you're going to sit down and write. So as many days as I possibly could, I felt
Mm.
I had to sit down and write. Yeah. So that's how the book was happened. And
I'm
then
s- I'm
yeah.
so glad that you did. I'm so glad you did that effort, and also it sounds like you were inspired to it from different sources, and now it's 2026, and here it is.
But I
Mm.
want to This is a wonderful analyst, Nathan Schwartz-Salant, who I really love. He's very dense. He's not a beginner person. He
Okay.
says if one can successfully work through the subtle body realm, the body, what I was doing in that experience, there
Mhm.
is often a chance to transform not only the psychic structure, but the physical structure as well.
Mm.
Mind-body splitting can mend when the subtle body realm is successfully encountered. And I think this is particularly important in psychological trauma. How do we take these pieces that were sort of separated and put them back together? And so, um, I mean, in my reading Jung and Jungians who write about this, I think we have a particular perspective that can really go deep, go into the spirit of the depths, and can
Yeah.
facilitate people going into the spirit of the depths. And my purpose in writing this book was to bring out, what did Jung say about this? You know, people say it here and there have been a couple of books out there, but I really wanted us to bring Jung back into the conversation. There's all this trauma work and theory and, you know, all these other things. But what Jung really works with too is the spirit of the depths, the unconscious, and the imaginal.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing. He was going into this mundus imaginalis, the Sufis say, with an embodied way. He wasn't just thinking about it, and he was encountering parts of his psyche, right?
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that he had the experience of losing his soul and then calling it back.
Hmm.
I mean, trauma work could be considered along those lines,
Hmm.
that something has been cut off
Hmm.
and we need access to our deeper selves.
Hmm.
How do you view trauma? Maybe that is what you're talking about now, but how do you view trauma and the soul from the Jungian lens?
How do I see trauma and soul? Yeah,
Yeah.
when we're traumatized, however, in childhood, you know, developmental trauma or something really, um, sorry, I need to turn this off. Something really, war. I mean, look at the trauma in the world today. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Um, so in the childhood abuse, whatever, the soul has to go and hide because
Yeah.
it's dangerous. And so our soul protects us. I mean, it goes and hides, and the innocent child in us has to hide.
Mm,
And we create all these ways of protecting ourselves, which are crucial for survival. But to heal that, how do we gently help somebody go into those spaces, into their body where the body remembers the trauma? That's the place it's most vivid. So how do we carefully, I mean, you know, there are lots of techniques to help people go in, to help people titrate this, which are helpful.
uh-huh.
But ultimately, we have to face what has been created in our own psyche that has been used to protect ourselves. And
Mm,
we have to honor how the body has done that and one of the ways we do that is remembering through the body, but then also this imaginal work, the
mm,
embodied active imagination, where we can consciously, carefully look at what, you know, say something in our childhood has been lodged in our unconscious and we think it's us. You're
mm,
bad, you're no
mm.
good, you're not worth loving, all those kinds of messages. It's
Yeah.
lodged in our body, right? We show it in our posture, we show it in our face, it's there. So how do we gently facilitate somebody becoming conscious of that and facing these parts of the psyche that have been split off,
Mm,
that have
yeah.
had to be split? We all do that.
Yeah.
We all have pieces, you know, parts
Yeah.
of our psyche, and different people talk about that. But Jung, as a Jungian, I can really use that imaginally,
Mm,
say this part of the psyche that says you're no good,
Mm.
you're unlovable.
Yeah, how would you work with that?
Yeah, how do we see that?
Mm.
If we have to get steady enough and be supported enough to go, who are you that
Ah,
keeps telling me this?
yeah.
We know where it came from,
Mm.
clear where it came from, but who are you?
Mm.
Talk to me.
Mm.
So some people are very visual and they'll have a real image of it. Some people more hear it, you know.
Uh,
We all have different senses. A smell might take us back. Smell is one of our earliest senses, and
mm.
it will take us back to our earliest moments. Um, so I encourage people, like with authentic movement, we can follow this in our body, the body impulse. And I did that a lot with my own trauma in authentic movement as I
Mhm.
was doing this other work. Um, and some people might be able to draw it better.
Mm.
So we take a blank piece of paper, and I never say, draw this, draw that, draw this. I say, draw what you're seeing in your unconscious. Who is this? Right?
And
Or,
what if there's completely dark? You can't see anything.
well, you just wait. It might take time.
Mm.
And and well, actually, if it's completely dark, it's like, well, what is this dark? Is
Yeah.
it protecting you?
Mm.
Does it not want you to see, which is something very scary, something very difficult?
Mm.
It might not even want you to see the good fairy godmother.
Mm.
How dare you escape? Escape the tower like Rapunzel. The story, the fairy tale of Rapunzel. She gets locked in the tower by the witch. That's what fairy tales are about. She gets locked in the tower by the witch, and the witch won't let her out. So the prince comes along. I mean, this is not gender. I mean, this is not about gender. The part of her psyche comes along
Yeah,
and
yeah.
says, "Hi, come on down." So, and then of course she has to fight the witch. She has to go off into the wilderness and find um, her own self, right? But the fairy tales talk about these journeys we take. They're just
Yeah.
symbolic journeys. So that's what we're doing. I had a client years ago who fairy tales really meant something to her.
Mm.
So we would take a fairy tale and she'd close her eyes and in embodied active imagination, she'd go into the fairy tale like she went into Bluebeard's castle.
Okay.
Bluebeard was a um, an evil man who he would marry somebody very wealthy, marry somebody and then murder them.
Okay.
Yeah, the fairy tale. And so um, the heroine of the tale figured out what's going on here.
Uh,
So, and then the heroine calls her sister and brothers, and they come rescue her, right? But so, so my client went into this castle,
mm.
and she's stuck. She's trapped, like in her trauma. And then, so I say, okay, calm down, slow down, just look around the castle, look around, and she sees a rat. And she says, "Oh, there's a rat." And I said, "Well, watch it." And the rat found its way out of the castle.
Ah.
So it's like, this is rat consciousness, okay? This is an animal spirit guide, sort of, so to speak.
Oh,
That
great.
that
That's
that the kind of mindset, the kind of clever, intelligent, can sniff out where it needs to go, that can help her in her life when she gets trapped.
it's really
Right.
creative. Like
Yes.
creative imagination there.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And that's the right hemisphere, and that's what Jung knew.
Hmm.
This is what he did with himself, with clients. He encouraged them to do whatever clay, photography, writing, drawing. And it's a meditation. It's a meditation between my consciousness and the unconscious,
Yeah.
whatever is in the unconscious, because we're very alive in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like every time I dream, I'm connected to it and I want to hold on to it. And then, whoop, I'm back here to
Yeah. Yeah.
my mind's minimum standards.
Right.
But
Your
that's
modern world's of minimum standards.
modern world. Yeah. And so it is important to try to connect ourselves again. I'm
Hmm.
just going to skim through my questions here to
Let
see
me,
if, um, yeah, I think the subtle body, could we go there maybe? Because
sure.
it's something where you say, it cannot be, Jung says, I think, in a quote, that it's a transcendental concept and it cannot be expressed in our terms of our language, our
Hmm.
philosophical views. But you do speak a lot about subtle body awareness. And I also like that you say that it's almost like a mystical state.
So when we're doing the work, we could be by ourselves and just create a sacred space, and then we might have a dream, and we start somewhere in the dream. We take a figure in the dream and we go, okay, who are you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And we close our eyes usually, or even when I move, I close my eyes so I can just tune inside.
Mm,
And and so I create this space, and then as I move into the imaginal space, which I have feelings, emotions, energy comes, memories come, images come, words come,
mhm.
I go into a bit of a trance, right? So
Yeah.
time sort of isn't important. I'm totally focused. I'm intending to listen. I'm not intending for something to happen, a
Mhm,
particular thing. I'm
mhm,
intending to listen, to be taught, right? And so I go into this subtle body space. Jung termed use the word subtle body. That's what the Sufis use.
mhm.
You could say trance, you could say altered state. So that subtle body state can be very gentle, very simple, very quiet, very light. Or you can, when you meditate, that's where you're going, is this place sort of between this world, my waking life, my doing person, and the divine realm, ultimately.
Yeah, because subtle body, I imagine it's something outside of my physical body.
Well, yeah, that's so interesting, isn't it? How do we talk about it? It is
Yeah.
body. Our
Uh-huh.
body's there, or we'd be dead.
Yeah.
Um, you think of mystics, many whatever tradition you're looking at, you think of the mystics, and that's where they went. So the subtle body is bigger than the body. It's rooted in the body, the
Mhm,
physical body, right? Subtle body did not, this is Jung. The subtle body denies neither psyche nor body soma, but brings them together in a third, which holds the physical and psychic tensions and acts as a catalyst, releasing energy to both the physical and psychic. One of the functions of this work is to create a conscious container where I can allow myself to go into the subtle body, where I
mhm.
can allow myself to go into the space of the imaginal, the space of the creative, and listen and see what happens.
Yeah.
And it sometimes it takes a lot of courage if we're working with trauma.
Mhm.
You have to kind of learn how to do it carefully. But so it can be mild, it can be like when the energy shot through my solar plexus and I was in a state of ecstasy. My body was there, it was vibrating, but I felt but I was also beyond my body. And people who dissociate actually do this, right? But
Mhm.
it's not in their conscious control. They're not in their body, they're somewhere else. So when I'm working with somebody who dissociates, slowly I say, so we begin to go, where do you go?
Yeah.
Where do you go when you dissociate? You're going somewhere to protect yourself. That's why we dissociate.
And is it possible to answer that while you
Yes.
have that out of body? Okay.
Yes, if, slowly, it takes time because these are places that have been protective. Like
Yeah.
I was working with somebody years ago who had incest trauma,
Mm.
and she was moving and she would crawl into this pile of pillows and she'd just stare at the ceiling. And eventually I said, "Why are you staring at what's going on?" And she said, I'm going to La La Land. That's where I go."
Okay.
So then we began to explore what's La La Land and the importance of going there.
Mm.
And it's when we know where we are, La La Land, or
Yeah.
wherever, when we know we're dissociated and we can go, "Oh, I'm consciously,"
Yeah.
bring the conscious and the unconscious together, which is what Jung does. Then we can go, "Oh, well, I don't really need to go there anymore, you know." But if we don't know that, we can't make the choice.
Exactly. I think that's a really major step. I mean, for myself, I it's more like then I'm back and then I realize uh, like I don't know where I am, but that's a really good key in therapy
Mhm.
to work with, like asking yourself, or the therapist can ask, where are you now? Where do you go? And just try
Mhm.
to be curious around that.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard sometimes, but be curious. And the thing that Jung, I think, adds, and people are doing this now, um, can you describe where you go? Can you
Uh,
see it? Can you feel it? Can you feel that subtle shift that happens when you go there? And eventually, you come back and you go, "Oh, I went there again." Well, where did you go? That's part of the psyche too,
yeah.
that place, that subtle body place. So we can learn to recognize it. We can learn to see the importance of it, right? And how it protects us. And then we can begin to use it in a different way.
I feel like asking you maybe an out of context question, but it's in this context, but maybe not in the Jungian. I mean, what I can't just say that I can't just understand it as I just got HDHD, and that's just I just don't have the focus or the bandwidth to stay present
Mm.
for a whole hour. Could I understand it like that, or how would you understand it?
Well, ADHD is actually a different wiring in the brain. I mean,
Yeah.
there are different wirings in the brain. So, and it's not bad. I don't like the label,
Uh-huh.
attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't help me. And besides, it's pejorative. This isn't a disorder. This is the way my brain is.
Yeah.
So somebody with that particular brain configuration, I mean, we do have the body. There are things that are wired in. Um, how do I begin to work with this brilliant brain? People with ADD, ADHD are usually incredibly creative and very, very intelligent. And I think that's what successful people do in that situation. They figure out, okay, how do I begin to work with these rhythms that I get into? How do I begin to focus on what ADHD people do incredibly well when they want to focus on something. I had a husband who had ADD,
Uh-huh.
and he wrote his dissertation in 3 weeks. I
Great.
mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't do that. Um, so, uh, so how do we work with who we are? How do we discover? How do we trust it? How do we learn to honor it? How do we learn
Mm.
to work with it? And these diagnostic labels, which are very Western and very biased,
Yeah.
they put us in boxes. They aren't looking at me,
Mm.
right? We're all different.
Mm.
We have patterns, we have archetypes that are similar, we have um, histories, feelings. But the question is, how do I honor my journey?
Yeah.
That you have your journey. Don't try to do my journey. I can't tell you how to do your journey.
Mm.
I can't give you steps A, B, C, D, E, and then no, it doesn't work like that. How do you trust your own unconscious? How do you trust the inner world? It's
Mm.
scary, can be
Yeah.
terrifying in there.
Yeah.
I mean, when people go into mystical states,
Mm.
it can be very terrifying because it's huge, right? it's out of body. It's bigger than the ego, bigger than anything in this world, in this three-dimensional world. And then you come back, you kind of, I forget what, uh, thinking of a book, novel that talks about this, but how do we squeeze all that subtle body back into this little body
Yeah.
and go on with our lives? And that's something I think that's very interesting to me when a lot of people come to me who have uh, altered states, or who this kind of work is natural for them. But then, so they have a big subtle body
Experience.
experience,
Yeah.
and then they come back and they go, uh, now what do I do?
How do I
What,
live my life now? Yeah.
right. How do I bring stuff back from there? And that's the
Yeah.
difference between, the shaman or the mystic or Jung or people like that who go into these intense places and then bring it back. And how do I use this? We work with the left brain. It takes us into all these amazing creative places. And then the right brain, the
Mm.
left brain, McGilchrist says, is the laptop.
Yeah.
Like Einstein had visions, right?
Yeah.
And then he was like, wow, how can I make a mathematical formula that expresses that? And he
Mm.
would. That's the left brain's job, right? So, yeah, anyway, that's a
It's
mouthful.
yeah, but it's really good. I like it so much. And I am aware that we don't have so much time left and I got many questions, but
Okay.
so I'll shoot a few of them and then I'm also excited to talk to you about your astrology. So okay, I think maybe body engrams. Is that something you could talk to? Body engrams.
Yeah, that's a term that a particular psychoanalyst used, I think, yeah, in my book, who he was working with clients, and this happens, where he would notice that suddenly they weren't present anymore.
Yeah.
This happens with all of us, right? Suddenly we're not present. And instead of, he'd just say, what's happening? And that's what I do. I don't try to tell people what to do or how to deal with stuff. I help them, I facilitate their working with whatever is. And so, like, I think he talks about one man, he felt this blank space in his body, this blank space
Mm.
that he couldn't feel. So they just sat with it. They didn't try to dissect it. They didn't try to make him stop doing it. They didn't, they just sat with it.
Yeah.
And when they both just focused on that in a full embodied, imaginal, energetic, you can feel the energy in the room when you're in a relationship. You can feel the energy between you. Now we can sometimes, a lot of times, think we feel that, but we don't. We're projecting something on it. But so he would just allow the patient, the client, to just sit there with it and wait until something became clear about it, you know,
Huh.
until, and that's what active imagination is. We just sit and we wait. And so it was this cut off place in this man's body. And we all have these places
Mm.
where we're totally unconscious. It's like something's sitting there. We might have a recurrent pain that comes up
Mm.
that nobody could, like my headaches, nobody could figure anything out. And so how do I trust that my body's, there's something there. So eventually the man, and this happens all the time, went, oh my God, that took me back to the memory of blah, blah, blah.
And you literally just sit there
Well, you
and
wait, you're
wait.
patient, you listen.
Yeah.
You listen, you see what energy, as me as a therapist, what energy I'm feeling,
Mm.
what I sense in the room, what energy they're feeling, what emotions come up,
Mm.
all of the things of where is the soul, right? Where is the soul hiding, sort of,
Yeah.
or, you know, um,
So it's
Where,
like a piece of the soul that used to be in that place in the body has left.
yeah, perhaps we could say that. Yes, yes, yes. Um, yeah. Where is the soul is to be alive, right? Our
Ah,
soul is alive, makes us alive. It's like what enlivens us. You look at somebody's face. There was one on National Geographic years and years ago, a woman from the Middle East, beautiful woman, and her eyes were just like trauma.
oh.
You know, she wasn't present. I mean, it became very famous because her eyes are so incredible and they're just like in this state of like trauma.
Mm, yeah.
Um, so so when somebody's really ensouled, they're alive, they're engaged, they're inside themselves. They
Mm,
know who they are, right? That's what we describe as soul.
mm,
So, so we all have these places in our body that are shut
okay.
down, that
Okay.
are holding something. So
Yeah.
how do we, I think the key is we have to be patient. There was a Jungian analyst who wrote a wonderful book called Listening to the Rhino, Janet Dallett, Dallett, who was working with a woman who was dying of cancer, and the doctors had given up. So she was helping her in her dying process, and the woman had this dream about a rhinoceros. And the rhinoceros kept coming. And so
In
they
her
said,
dreams.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So they said, okay, rhinoceros, what do you want?
Yeah.
And the rhinoceros told her how to heal herself. And she went into a complete remission. And clearly, this rhinoceros was a spirit animal for her. Eventually, she made this beautiful statue of a rhinoceros, you know. So, I mean, these are kind of fantastical stories, right?
Yeah.
But it does happen. And
Yeah.
I think this is and no, it doesn't happen to everybody, right? I mean, unfortunately, but this is a part of the world that we have lost touch with in the
Mm,
modern world. And this is a part of the world that Jung experienced and believed in and wanted to bring to
mm,
life in his patience, in his work. You know, it
mm.
was Jung had a near-death experience that was in his autobiography, Memories, Dreams, Reflections. And he talks about having this near-death experience, and then he comes back and he's very depressed. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't want to come, I was ready to. And then he has these three visions in 3 nights in a row. And after that, he was no longer concerned about what people thought of his work. It's like, I'm doing my work. I'm not. And he wrote some of his most intense books at that point. One on alchemy that are just really out there. I mean, for people like us, very mystical. One is very mystical. So, so when we can contact this creative unconscious, and it sends us we have to face the dark stuff too, right? It's not
Yeah.
just all, um, um, it's intense, which is why we need to be with somebody that we trust with the
Yeah.
book, right?
Wow, that's beautiful. And that he let go of other people's perception of him and his work.
Yeah.
That's because that's also probably a way that one has protected oneself, is to be very aware of that.
Oh, yeah. And we need to be to a certain extent, right?
Mhm.
We don't want to trample on people. We don't want to do crazy things. We want to participate, but how can we bring our knowledge of our true self and participate and help other people bring their knowledge of their true self,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we're all trying to do, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about going into subtle body space. This is Nathan Schwartzwell again. This shift of consciousness can be described as a movement from a solar consciousness that readily leads to interpretations. Oh, I know what this means. I know what this means. Into a lunar consciousness that focuses on images and imaginal perceptions. This shift involves an introverted act in which attention and consciousness is surrendered to the unconscious. So we intend to listen to the unconscious, right?
This is, before we start recording, I was sharing with you that I've been sending people quotes from your book. This is the one that I sent the most because it's lunar consciousness. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm just mostly in lunar consciousness. And
Yeah,
this is what is going on with me. I felt something reading that lunar consciousness.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it makes sense that my mood is up and down. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but that's just what hit me.
Hmm. Yeah, and to me, that's the right hemisphere, this lunar consciousness, this knowing there's something bigger, knowing
Yeah.
there's relationship, knowing there's nonverbal um, paradox, intuition, and that's where astrologers work.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's where good Jungian analysts work.
Yeah.
To a certain, we go back and forth, right?
Yeah.
How do we bring that knowledge into and make it useful for,
Mm,
right? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Did you have more on that quote? I know I interrupted
Nope,
you. I
nope,
don't. Okay.
that's fine.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. You got it.
Good. I got it. I got something at least.
Uh-huh.
I got that recognition in myself, and
Yeah.
that is what it's so great when reading a book where it's I'm actually touched. I'm actually personally moved by this. That's
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so let's move to the astrology.
Okay.
Uh,
It's odd to have this on a podcast, my astrology on a podcast, but
yes, I never say people's birth information.
mm,
I try to keep that hidden.
thank you.
Um, but um, but just like yeah, you're a Taurus, and that's
Mm,
so to do with the body, and so the somatic interest there is quite obvious. But you also asked me a question about your book, right?
mhm,
And what's going on with that. And I'll share with you that um you said something earlier around this is what we're all trying to do, and I think you have so much Aries energy, and right now collectively we have so much Aries energy, and that is really a request in a way from the universe to say, could you please just be yourself now? Could you please just go with that creative spark?
mhm,
Because many of us have those survival strategies of I don't want to hurt other people, so I kind of just twist my truth a little bit, and almost very subtly sometimes we don't really notice, but
mhm,
this Aries energy is really asking of just get out there, please just get out there. just just like don't even worry about a conflict because that's not where you're coming from.
mhm,
So the more that we are able to be so real with each other,
mhm,
the deeper we can actually go as well. It's actually really soon, it's like next week or something that is going to be direct on your first Aries planet, which is Mercury, then you have Venus, then you have Hygeia, then you have Ceres, then you have Jupiter. You have a lot of Aries energy.
yeah,
Yes.
I do. I do. Tell me about it.
You got a lot of Aries energy. And so we do collectively. So all of that is gonna some has gone over them, and the rest is following. And so I really consider this to be that your book is gonna touch more people.
One astrologer a long time ago, she said, you are such an individual. This Aries energy you have, it's like you cannot do it like somebody else.
Good point.
And it's true. I mean, I was writing this book and it made total sense to me. The book actually was healing for me, writing it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because I had to pull together all my experience, personal and professional, and all these ideas. I also have a Gemini moon in the ninth house, so I'm like, wee!
Yeah.
And I had to pull them all together in a way that was readable, right? And people would read it. I had some readers and they'd go, wow, this is really out there. And I'm like, really? It makes total sense to me. I mean, it's not out there for me.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I don't get that. To
Mm,
me, this is what Jung was talking about. I mean, this is my take on Jung, right? I didn't know him.
absolutely.
Very
Yeah.
powerful man. But This is a piece of Jung that I feel hasn't been really expressed.
Yeah,
So,
the whole embodiment angle.
yeah, I mean, there are people who have written on it, but not in this really bringing him into the picture.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I like that, and also how you're talking about what he would say now in the modern trauma therapy,
Hmm.
like you were explaining
How it,
earlier.
yeah, how it intersects with that.
Yeah.
I mean, trauma therapists, I mean, it's a great field, but they work mostly with sensation and emotion and the body. They don't get into the imaginal. They
Mm,
don't work with, okay, how does this imaginal piece, how does that fit into the picture? How does that trigger us? How does that heal us? How does that,
mm,
and the subtle body, nobody talks about the subtle body
mm.
in that field,
No,
which is
it's
where
so,
people go when they dissociate. It's like,
yeah, that's
yeah,
so important.
yeah.
That's so important. Um,
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
yes, I was just,
I have this energy, this Aries energy.
it's, no, it's good. I was just pulling up the transits to be able to see.
Mm.
And right now, as we're speaking, the moon is also in Gemini, so
Oh, no
even
wonder I'm all over the place.
even more so. Yeah, yeah. And so I am curious. I think I think it's the Saturn going through Neptune is gonna take a while longer there, but Saturn is gonna go through those planets, and that's the stability, and it's also the achievement,
Mm,
right? And something has matured, something has been ripened, and so and so yeah. What do you have planned for? Do you have any plans for the book? What?
well, it's getting out there. I'm doing a lot of online, mostly, unfortunately,
Yeah, I
talk.
wish you were here. I wish you were right here in my
I know.
studio.
Yeah. I'm teaching, I'm doing podcasts like this. Thank
Mm,
you. And uh, I also feel like the book has a life of its own.
mm,
It's like I've birthed it, and now it's a child out in the world. It's like
yeah.
I don't have control over it anymore, really. So somebody
Yeah.
said, "So what's your?" People say, "Now that you've finished this one, what are you writing
What's
next?"
next?
No, I mean
No.
this book came from my life, so it's my
Yes.
purpose, kind of.
This is monumentum. This is gigantic, this
Mm,
book, and that's why I keep speaking about it because it is so soulful. So it doesn't seem like, oh yeah, where's the sequel? Like
mm,
it's more like I need to read this again, right? It's
mm,
more like that. For what it's worth, the whole the whole universe is all these planets are like coming for you.
mm.
So I do think that it's gonna spark up.
Hmm. Great. Let me read one more. Bring Jung back. Where is that?
Yes.
Um, the psyche consists essentially of images in the truest sense, full of meaning and purpose. And when Jung says images, he doesn't just mean visual. He means kinesthetic. I'm very kinesthetic and energetic.
Mm,
He means sound, music. He means any modality that is creative and expressive. So this living being appears outwardly as the material body, but inwardly as a series of images of the vital activities taking place within the psyche. These quotes are so deep, you really have to
yeah.
think about them. So so outwardly, when we express something like we paint, then the whatever's inside gets to manifest. And then we get to look at it and go, wow, this is so powerful. What does this mean in my life, right?
Mm,
So, so that's what Jung realized is that there's a whole world of information and knowledge and healing and the shadow, the dark, the
mm,
stuff we have to face, the parts we don't like, the parts that control us. Um, So those are the psychic images, and how do we put them out into some form that then we can talk about? Some like a client might go home and paint something, and then they bring
Mm,
the painting in, and then we can go, wow, look at that. What's
mm,
happening there? What's happening there? What's this relationship? What's happening? Right?
mm. Like with a dream, like anything that comes through you that you're
Hmm.
not entirely sure of where it came from.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a whole world inside. There's Coleman Barks who translated a lot of Rumi. He said, I think he was quoting somebody. The the big world is not outside. The big world is inside. It is infinite.
Mm,
And that's what in the modern world we've lost touch with.
mm,
We astrologers speak to this, right? Many people speak to this. But how do we bring that awareness, that consciousness back into the modern world? Become ensouled again and then heal the planet, be able to work together and learn from the the spirit of the depths
mm,
and the embodied soul, the mundus imaginalis, the soul of the world.
mm,
How do we bring that? How do we work with that?
mm.
Right? Honor it.
Yeah. And really remember its truth and remember that that is the reality. And even in astrology, it's so easy for us to think, but it's just like I was speaking about the transiting planets also. Is it just because Saturn is coming that this is happening? It's it's a mirror of each other, the heaven
Mhm.
and this and the earth and the inside here and also what's going out in the world, what's going
Mhm.
on in the world. We're so interconnected like that. So in a way, we can only use something as astrology to help us see what's going on inside. In a way, yeah,
Yeah, it's a real mirror, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So,
But yeah, just I'm really glad that you did write this book, and yeah, I'm of course linking to you and your. Do you have a website as well?
yes, I do. I have
Yeah,
a website.
yeah.
I have lectures on YouTube.
Okay.
Just put in YouTube my name and
Mm-hmm.
lectures will come up that are recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great, beautiful, good, and then a link for the book, obviously.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anything else you feel like saying before we part?
Oh, wow, it's been a lot.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. So I think I can't think of anything right now. I mean, we
Mm.
could go on and on and on and on, which
Yeah.
is always
Yes.
fun, but
No, I think it's a lot too. It's a lot. It's like the whole trying to speak about the whole universe, the whole
mm,
unconscious, this world that we are, but we are not really in contact with, and the
mhm.
crisis in the world. That yeah, it's a lot, Erica.
Yeah. And as an astrologer, you're just watching it going, uh-oh, or good or ugh. I
Yeah,
mean, I understand last month there were 7 planets in Aries,
that's the
right?
thing. That's the thing. Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah, and so conflict is just the shadow side of it, but the beautiful side of it is are we now ready to just say it how it is? I mean, and get conscious of how often we just take a little bit, censor ourselves a little bit in friendships, even
mhm,
places where we're not supposed to. It's just a little bit of censorship. Maybe stop that. Maybe say this is what I believe in, and
mhm.
let your friend respond in her Aries way, right?
Right, right. And Aries is the beginning, right, of the whole.
Yes,
So it's like the
there's that.
beginnings.
Definitely
Mhm.
ready for a new chapter.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we need
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Erica Lorentz, for this interview, for your time and your work and your
Oh, you're
presence.
welcome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.